Welcome back to Change Your Life. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world of Lincoln Wheat Pennies, their iconic design, hidden stories, and secret treasures. Today, we explore the top 3 most valuable, expensive, and ultra-rare Lincoln Wheat Penny coins ever found in the United States of America. These legendary coins include 1954 D, 1955, no mint mark, and 1956, no mint mark, each with a shocking history, copper composition, classic wheat reverse design, and rusty brown to red color shades that collectors and investors obsess over. This old, dirty, and seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent could be worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars today. So before you spend that old penny, stick around, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. First up, coin number 1. Most valuable and expensive Lincoln Wheat Penny worth value coin United States of America, 1954, D mint mark. At first glance, this coin looks ordinary. It doesn't shine like gold. It doesn't scream wealth. It rests quietly in the palm of your hand, its surface darkened by time, its copper skin worn, scratched, and stained by decades of circulation. Yet history has taught us something powerful. The most life-changing objects are often the ones people ignore. This Lincoln Wheat Penny carries a story far deeper than its 1-cent face value, a story that begins in an era of change, struggle, and silent opportunity. The year 1954 was not loud in American coin history, but it was important. The nation was rebuilding confidence after war years, industries were shifting, and everyday money was moving through millions of hands. At the Denver Mint, pennies were struck quickly, efficiently, without anyone imagining that some of these copper coins would later become objects of obsession. Among these pennies, the ones marked with a small d were sent into circulation like any other. No ceremony. No warning. Just copper entering the world. What makes the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny fascinating is not only its age, but its survival. Copper is alive in a way other metals are not. It reacts to air, to moisture, to touch. Over time, it changes color, from bright red to warm brown, sometimes to deep, almost rusty shades. Each color shift is a chapter in the coin's life. A penny that looks dirty today may actually be telling a long story of pockets, drawers, shops, and forgotten jars. Collectors don't always see dirt. They see evidence of history. This coin carries the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a face that represents unity, sacrifice, and endurance. On the reverse, the wheat ears symbolize prosperity and growth, a promise made during difficult times. When this design was created, it wasn't meant to be flashy. It was meant to be meaningful. That meaning is what gives the coin emotional power today. People don't just collect metal. They collect stories, symbols, and moments frozen in time. Now here is where the story turns interesting. Many people believe value comes only from rarity, but true value often comes from details. A slight difference in strike. A subtle misalignment. An unexpected texture. Coins from the same year and mint can live very different destinies. One may remain common, another may become legendary. That is why some 1954 D pennies are still worth 1 cent, while others quietly reach astonishing prices in private sales and collections. Condition plays a dangerous role in this story. A coin that looks worn may still hold incredible potential. Surface wear does not erase history. In some cases, unusual wear patterns, strong remaining details, or unique coloration make a coin stand out. A penny dismissed as old and dirty has, more than once, shocked its owner when examined closely. What looks ordinary to the eye can be extraordinary under careful attention. There is also psychology involved. Coins like this create emotion. The idea that something so small could carry life-changing value taps into a deep human instinct. Hope. Possibility. The belief that luck might already be sitting in your possession. That is why people search through jars, inherit collections, and pause before spending old coins. Not because every penny is rare, but because one could be. The market for coins is driven by desire as much as by metal. Collectors chase what others overlook. Investors look for items that carry both history and scarcity. The 1954 wheat penny sits in that space between common and legendary, where the right example can suddenly become powerful. That power doesn't come from magic. It comes from demand, condition, uniqueness, and the stories people attach to it. Some pennies from this era have sold for staggering amounts, not because they were shiny, but because they were different. Because they survived in a special way. Because they told a story no other coin could tell. That is why dismissing an old coin without understanding it can be a mistake. Value is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. The most dangerous thing you can do with a coin like this is rush. Rushing leads to spending. Rushing leads to selling cheap. History is filled with stories of people who unknowingly let go of something extraordinary. Not because they were careless, but because they didn't know. Knowledge is what turns a penny into potential. This is not a promise of instant wealth. It is something more realistic and more powerful. Awareness. Understanding. Respect for history. The idea that before you dismiss something as worthless, you take a moment to look closer. Because coins like the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny remind us that value is not always obvious, and fortune does not always announce itself. In today's world, where people chase fast money and loud success, this quiet copper coin stands as a reminder. Wealth can be patient. Opportunity can be small. History can sit unnoticed until the right eyes see it. Whether this penny makes someone rich or simply wiser depends on what they do next. So before you spend that old coin, before you trade it away for nothing, remember this story. Remember that some fortunes begin not with gold bars or bank accounts, but with curiosity, patience, and a single cent that refused to be ordinary. And this was only the beginning. Most valuable and expensive Lincoln Wheat Penny worth value coin United States of America, 1955, no mint mark. At first sight, this coin does not look powerful. It doesn't glow. It doesn't announce importance. It feels light, almost forgettable, resting quietly between two fingers. Its copper surface may look tired, darkened by time, marked by years of circulation. Many people have held this coin without a second thought. Many have spent it. Many have lost the chance to ever know what they once owned. And that is what makes the 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny so haunting. Its power lies not in appearance, but in what it represents. The year 1955 was a moment of movement in American history. Life was speeding up. Cities were growing. Money was flowing faster than ever before. Pennies were not treasures, they were tools. They passed through hands without attention, without care. The Lincoln Wheat Penny of this year was struck to serve a purpose, not to be admired. No one at the time imagined that some of these coins would later become symbols of shocking value, mystery, and regret. This coin carries Abraham Lincoln's portrait, a face tied deeply to endurance, struggle, and unity. On the reverse, the wheat ears speak quietly of growth, stability, and survival. It is a design rooted in meaning, not decoration. The copper composition gives the coin warmth, a living quality that changes with age. Over time, red copper turns brown, sometimes nearly black. Each shade is a memory. Each mark is proof that this coin lived a life before reaching you. What makes the 1955 no-mint mark wheat penny so fascinating is the way it hides in plain sight. It looks like countless other pennies. It blends into jars, drawers, and old boxes. Its value is not obvious. And that is why it has fooled generations. Coins like this do not become legendary because they are rare alone, but because they exist at the intersection of history, error, timing, and human ignorance. Collectors and investors are drawn to this coin not just for metal, but for the story behind it. Stories create value. Stories create demand. The 1955 wheat penny has been surrounded by whispers, discoveries, and moments of disbelief. People have found them by accident. People have inherited them without knowing. Some sold too early. Some held on and changed their lives. This coin has watched all of that in silence. Condition plays a strange role here. A dirty coin does not mean a worthless coin. In fact, many powerful coins look unimpressive. Scratches, wear, and discoloration can distract the untrained eye, but experienced collectors see past the surface. They look for character, originality, and uniqueness. A coin that appears worn may still carry features that make it extraordinary. That is why dismissing an old penny can be the costliest mistake someone makes. The idea that a single cent could reach unimaginable value feels unreal, almost impossible. Yet that feeling is exactly why people miss opportunity. Humans are trained to believe value must be obvious. But history repeatedly proves the opposite. Value often hides where people stop looking. The 1955 wheat penny became legendary not overnight, but slowly, as awareness grew and examples became fewer in meaningful condition. There is something psychological about this coin. It represents the dream that ordinary life can suddenly shift. That something forgotten can become powerful. That chance does not always arrive loudly. Many investors chase trends. Many collectors chase shine. But the real hunters chase stories, rarity of circumstance, and coins that were misunderstood for decades. This is not a promise that every 1955 penny will make someone rich. That belief is dangerous. But it is also dangerous to assume none of them matter. Somewhere between those two extremes is truth. And truth is where opportunity lives. Coins like this demand patience, knowledge, and restraint. Selling quickly is easy. Holding wisely is rare. The most important lesson this coin teaches is not about money, but about awareness. Awareness turns objects into assets. Awareness turns history into value. Without awareness, fortunes are spent unknowingly. With awareness, even a dirty copper penny demands respect. In today's fast world, where people rush decisions and seek instant reward, the 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny stands as a quiet warning. Slow down. Look closer. Question what you think you know. Because history does not repeat loudly. It repeats quietly, waiting for someone to notice. This coin has already changed lives. Not because it wanted to, but because someone paid attention. Someone paused. Someone chose not to spend it without understanding it. That single decision can separate regret from opportunity. So before you let go of that old penny, before you dismiss it as worthless, remember this story. Remember that the smallest things sometimes carry the heaviest weight. And remember that fortune does not always arrive as gold. Sometimes it arrives as copper, worn, silent, and waiting. This was not just a coin. This was a lesson. And this is only part of the story. Most valuable and expensive Lincoln Wheat Penny worth value coin United States of America, 1956, no mint mark. At first glance, this coin feels invisible. It does not shout. It does not shine. It sits quietly among other pennies, its copper surface darkened, its edges softened by time. Many people have held this coin and felt nothing. They dropped it into jars, spent it at stores, or left it forgotten in drawers. And yet, history has a strange habit of hiding power inside ordinary things. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those silent objects that waits patiently for someone to look closer. By 1956, America was moving fast. The world was changing, and money moved through hands without ceremony. Pennies were not saved, they were used. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was already a familiar sight, trusted and ignored at the same time. No mint mark meant it blended perfectly into everyday life. Nothing about it demanded attention. That is exactly why it survived unnoticed, slipping through decades without being questioned. The face of Abraham Lincoln on this coin carries weight far beyond copper. It represents endurance, sacrifice, and the quiet strength of time. On the reverse, the wheat ears stand as a symbol of growth and resilience, a design born in an era that understood struggle. This was not decoration. It was meaning pressed into metal. And meaning, over time, becomes value in ways people never expect. Copper is a living metal. It breathes with the air, reacts to touch, and changes as years pass. What once may have been bright red slowly turns brown, sometimes deep and dark, sometimes uneven and rough. To many eyes, that looks like damage. To experienced collectors, it looks like a story. Every stain, every scratch, every shift in color is proof that this coin traveled through real life. Coins without stories are common. Coins with stories are remembered. The 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny is fascinating because it hides in plain sight. It looks like nothing special. It looks like history already spent. But value does not always announce itself. Sometimes value waits for understanding. Over time, collectors began to realize that not all pennies are equal, even when they look the same. Subtle differences, unexpected characteristics, and survival itself began to matter. What truly surrounds this coin is not just metal, but emotion. Emotion is what drives collectors and investors. The idea that something forgotten could hold unimaginable worth is powerful. It creates tension. It creates hope. It creates regret. Many people discover this coin only after it is gone, after it was spent without thought. Others find it by chance and feel that sudden pause, that moment where curiosity replaces habit. Condition plays a deceptive role here. A dirty coin does not mean a worthless coin. In fact, some of the most talked about coins look unimpressive at first glance. Wear does not erase significance. Time does not destroy value automatically. Sometimes time creates it. A coin that has survived unchanged, uncleaned, and untouched for decades carries a kind of honesty that cannot be recreated. The belief that wealth must look wealthy is one of the greatest mistakes people make. History is full of objects dismissed as junk before becoming legendary. The 1956 wheat penny belongs to that tradition. It reminds us that value is often discovered, not designed. It grows slowly, quietly, while the world looks elsewhere. Stories around this coin often begin the same way. Someone finds an old penny. They hesitate. They wonder. Most people ignore that feeling. A few follow it. That difference matters. Knowledge changes outcomes. Awareness changes decisions. Without them, even the most powerful object remains powerless. This coin does not promise instant riches. That myth destroys more fortunes than it creates. What it offers instead is possibility. Possibility rewards patience, restraint, and understanding. Those who rush often regret it. Those who wait, study, and respect history give themselves a chance. The market for coins is driven by more than numbers. It is driven by scarcity of opportunity and depth of story. As years pass, fewer meaningful examples remain. Awareness grows. Demand shifts. Suddenly, what once felt ordinary becomes difficult to replace. That moment is when history catches up with the present. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny teaches a quiet lesson. Slow down. Look twice. Ask questions before acting. Because the smallest things sometimes carry the heaviest consequences. Spending without thought is easy. Pausing with intention is rare. In a world chasing fast money and loud success, this worn copper coin stands as a reminder. Fortune does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives silently, waiting inside something overlooked. Not every penny is powerful, but every powerful penny was once ignored. So before you spend that old coin, before you trade it away without understanding it, remember this story. Remember that history has a habit of rewarding those who pay attention. And remember that change does not always come as gold or silver. Sometimes, it comes as copper, darkened by time, holding more meaning than anyone ever expected. This was not just a penny. It was a moment waiting to be recognized. And for those who notice, it can change everything.